Like Sister Soldier, straight up. She the type of female I'd like to cut in the face with my razor. Before I get heated just talking about her, let me make it clear who I am and where I stand. Don't go jumping to any conclusions either. All of y'all are too quick to jump to her defense without knowing what somebody up close and personal thinks. When it comes right down to it, those are the ones who really count, the people who was there, who seen it all. Hell, you can't smell nobody's breath through a camera. You almost can't even see their pimples. So you know that TV shit ain't real. Don't run ahead of me. Let me take my time and tell my story. Brooklyn, born. I don't have no sob stories for you about rats and roaches and pissy, pew hallways. I came busting out of my mama's big coochie on January 28, 1977, during one of New York's worst snowstorms. So my mother named me Winter. My father, Ricky Santiago, was so proud of his new baby girl that he had a limo waiting to pick my moms up from the hospital. The same night I got home, my pops gave me a diamond ring set in 24-karat gold. My mom said that my fingers were too small and soft to even hold a ring in place, but he insisted that he had a guy who would have it adjusted just right. It was important for me to know I deserved the best, no slum jewelry, cheap shoes, or knock-off designer stuff, only the real thing. We lived in the projects, but we were cool with that. We weren't wanting for a damn thing. I had 3 aunts, 4 uncles, and a whole slew of cousins. As far as we were concerned, it was live for all of us to be chilling in the same building, or at least the next building over. We never had to worry about getting into fights because around our way we had reputation. Plus it was plain and simple common sense. If you put your hands on anybody in the family, you would get jumped by the next oldest person in our family, and so on and so on. Sooner than later we didn't even have to say a word. Everybody understood that our family had the neighborhood locked down. It wasn't worth the trouble. Our apartment in the projects was dipped. We had royal red carpets on the floors, top of the line furniture, a fully loaded entertainment center, equipment, and all that good stuff. I loved my pops with a passion. He was the smoothest nigga in the world. When he came into a room, he made a difference. His cologne came around the corner introducing him before you could even see him. He spoke softly, with deep seriousness. He was light-skinned, tall, with curly black hair and a fine thin mustache to match. He was medium build, definitely in shape. The thing that stood out about him was his style. His clothes were crisp, expensive. He never wore the same shirt twice. He could do it like that 'cause he was smart. He never used the drugs he sold. He collected his money on time and made examples of any fool who tried to cheat him. He had a saying, 1 copper penny, 1 finger. All the ladies loved him, but he wasn't what I would call a ladies' man. He never had no girlfriend, at least no female ever called the house trying to front on my moms. I can't recall any incidents involving other women, accusations, or any uncomfortableness. He was a family man. Everybody in the whole world knew my mom's was his wife, his one and only, his soft spot even. Moms and pops had been young lovers and, unlike a whole lot of niggas, they stayed together. She was 14 when she had me. Folks said she looked great during pregnancy and would switch her ass around the neighborhood flowing easy, like water. She would wear her fine Italian leather stiletto heels even in her 7th month. Moms had everything by the way of clothes and anything else you could think of. Her mahogany skin was smooth as a Hershey's chocolate bar. When she went anywhere she was well coordinated. If she had on a zebra skin hat, she'd sport the zebra skin pants and would have a zebra skin pattern on all 10 nails. She'd even have the Victoria's Secret zebra pattern panties and camisole. What separated her from every other woman any of us knew was she just had so much class. While the others were putting their imitation leather and zebra skins on layaway, piece by piece, mama wouldn't be caught dead without her shit perfectly arranged. By the time hoes sported their outfits, all their shit was played out, straight out of style. When it came to shopping, mama had no mercy, and that's the way Santiago liked it. His woman was supposed to be the showstopper. Mama didn't work cause beauty, she said, was a full-time occupation that left no room for anything else. She'd sit at her vanity table for 3 hours, making sure she positioned each extra long lash on just right. She'd argue with anyone who said she wasn't born with those lashes that framed her big, wide brown eyes that were gorgeous with or without falsies. She made it clear to me that beautiful women are supposed to be taken care of. She would whisper in my ear, "I'm just a bad bitch." Now a bad bitch is a woman who handles her business without making it seem like business. Only dumb girls let love get them delirious to the point where they let things that really count go undone. For example, you see a good-looking nigga walking down the avenue, you get excited. You get wet just thinking about him. You step to him, size him up, and you think, looks good. You slide your eyes down to his zipper, check for the print. Inside you scream, yes, it's all there. But then you realize he's not wearing a watch, ain't carrying no car keys, no jewels, and he's sporting last month's sneakers. He's broke as hell. A bad bitch realizes that she has two options: 1, she can take him home and get her groove on just to enjoy the sex and don't get emotionally involved because he can't afford her, or 2, she can walk away and leave his broke ass standing right there. Having a relationship is out. Getting emotionally involved is out. Taking him seriously is out. If a bad bitch is extra slick, she can keep this guy on the side for the good sex. He then becomes a commercial to the money man, who is the main program. The money man is the guy who knows how to provide, knows how to bring home the goodness and bless his woman with everything she wants. Now the money man might not be ringing any bells sexually, but if he has ends, if his pockets are heavy, a bad bitch will moan like this nigga is the original Casanova. When he's sexing her, she'll shake, pant, and cry out like he's creating orgasms as strong as ocean waves. Now moms must have been a bad bitch because she had it both ways. She had the money man with the good looks, loyalty, and I know pops was laying it down in the bedroom. Mom's got her hair done once every 3 days. The shop we went to, 'cause she always took me, was for the high rollers girls. These were the few women in the neighborhood who are able to hook the big money fish. They all went to this shop to get their hair done, nails did, and, more importantly, to show off and update on shit going on. Erlines was where we could get our hair done while we collected information on the side. By the time I was 7, I understood the rules perfectly. Keep the family's business quiet. Most things were better left unsaid. Even though this was the high rollers hair shop, we were clear that motherfuckers were jealous of us. My pop's operation was steadily building. As a young guy, he started off as a lookout but was so sharp that now he has organized his own thing. He has his own workers and whatnot. People knew he was headed to being the next Big Willie by his style. He was respected for his product, which was never watered down, always a fair cut for your money. So me and my moms would catch those jealous glances, but we threw those shits right back. Our attitude toward other females was, "Hey, your man works for my pops, now bow down to the family who puts food on the table for you and yours." Santiago was the #1 businessman in our area by the time I was 13, running things. Although he taught me never to sweat the small stuff, it seemed like every move he made he thought about carefully. I would hear his key unlocking the first door into our apartment. Then the men he was with, his workers, they would stand in the limited space between the first door and the heavy metal second door that actually led into our place, and talk. After they handled their matters, you would hear the first door open, then slam again. Pops would lock it and then unlock the second door to come inside. Whatever pressure he felt, Whatever weight or business he had was left in between those two doors, because when he came inside he brought his sexy smile, excited eyes, and power along with him. He would show us all love. He would have whatever any of us had asked him for in his pocket, no matter how small the request, down to a Snickers bar. If any of us had a problem of any kind, we could ask him and he'd make the answer so simple that I'd wonder how I couldn't have figured it out myself. If something was on his mind, he'd go in the back to a private room he had Woody the carpenter build and pull out his chessboard. Funny thing was, he wouldn't play with anybody, just against himself. When I'd ask him why, he'd say, "That's how I stay on top, baby. I look at life from every position. I play from every side. You gotta know what each man on the board is thinking down to the littlest motherfucker like the pawn." Now Daddy would explain that other players are quick to sacrifice or ignore the pawn, but he was too smart for that. "The pawns are my soldiers," he would say. "If I surround myself with strong soldiers, give them all a stake in the game, then they keep the hood strong and tight." He would look into my eyes as if to ask, do I understand? I didn't want him to know that I dig him so much that I'd listen to him for as long as he wanted to talk, but I didn't give a fuck about a game of chess. He would break down how around our way there were always some young kids trying to spread their wings and test his operation. He said they mostly stupid though, cause no smart guy is gonna try to kick in the door of the big man unless he got an extra tight, professional, strong, and ruthless crew. But every now and then some dumb ass young kid who had seen too many Scarface type movies will try to overtake what can only kill him. He loses, Santiago said, knocking the Black King over on the chessboard. He loses because he never understood the game. The up and coming dealers on the block was Santiago's number 2 problem. I was his number 1. He loved me like crazy but was getting nervous about the way men, young and old, was checking for me. It was amazing how in 1 year, from age 12 to 13, my titties sprouted. I even had the ass to match. I don't know who was more excited, the men or me. I was walking around poking my stuff out in any direction that looked good to me. But anybody who stared my way for more than a few seconds was in danger of catching a critical beatdown. Pops had already made an example of at least 2 niggas around my way. Santiago sliced this one dude from his left ear to his right ear. We call that kind of cut a hospital run. But this guy never got to go to the hospital. Santiago let his blood gush out until Doc got to our apartment. Now Doc ain't really no doctor, he just had some medical training in the army. Santiago calls him when he don't need the police and hospital button around in his business. Well, when Doc got finished with dude, his cut just bubbled up all the way across his face. Everybody in the neighborhood started calling him Bubbles for that ugly scar. Bubbles' crime was looking at me with lust in his eyes while he was supposed to be installing the safe in our apartment. Now Bubbles was a walking billboard that no one is allowed to fuck with Santiago's daughter. After that we got the second metal door installed in our apartment and none of Daddy's workers were ever allowed past that door again. Now Moms thought Santiago's ways was overboard. She told him she was just gonna get me some birth control pills and let me go, cause when a woman wants to get fucked, she gets fucked. She gets fucked whether it's in a car or a closet. Suggestions like this just got Santiago more crazy. He made it clear to Moms, Winter is not a woman yet. None of these lowlifes are gonna make a trick out of my flesh and blood. Pops would pull me to the side, grab my shoulders with his strong hands and firm grip, stare into my eyes, and tell me slowly, only a hard-working man, a sharp thinker who doesn't hesitate to do what he gotta do, to get you what you need to have, deserves you. He repeated that lesson often. I would think to myself, only Papa fits that description. Now I loved Papa but I hated the way he blocked. Every teenage girl wants to cut loose and get close to the fire, but I was like a pot of boiling milk with the lid on. You know that's ready to explode and slide down the side of the pen. So my peeps kept me busy by giving me things to do all the time. I had to watch my baby sisters Mercedes and Lexus, the twins. They was a real pain in the ass at 8 months old. Then I had to look out for my other little sister Porsche, who was 4. She wasn't half bad since she didn't shit all over all the time. Sometimes the 3 of them kids together got on my nerves so bad they almost made me want to go to school. But my policy was to go to school just enough so the authorities wouldn't kick me out. If I had a new outfit to show off or some new jewels I knew I'd get sweated for, fine, but I wasn't gonna report to school every day like it was some type of job when they weren't even paying me for it. School was like a hustle. Teachers wanted me to come to school so they could get paid to control me. What do I get out of the deal? Enough said, I just wasn't having it. As busy as they kept me, there was Midnight. I guess he got that name because Midnight was about the only thing blacker than him. He was one of my father's workers. He was real serious like. My father? He always looked like he was thinking deep thoughts and had a lot on his mind. I figured maybe he had a plan to take over the world. I liked that because he would need to own the world to win me. He never smiled. He didn't joke around like other niggas in our age group. He did his pickups and deliveries like clockwork. My father once referred to him as a strong young lieutenant. Santiago liked him because he said he never tried to test or flex. He knew Santiago was the boss and he was comfortable and cool with that. Midnight never attempted to skim, pay late, or run games, like some guys did when they first started out. I liked Midnight for other reasons too. In the summertime he wore white when he played basketball. His mother, or whoever washed his clothes, must have been more handy than them happy homemakers on the TV commercials cause his shit was crisp. But what really got me was that black skin. It was smooth and perfect. It laid on top of his bone structure tight like saran wrap. His arms were cut. I could tell he lifted weights. But he wasn't all big and swollen like those little, dick assholes in the magazines. He was tall, yet medium, sized, and perfect. His muscles were defined, his veins stuck out, emphasizing his strengths. His neck was slim and strong. He would come to the park only on Sundays. I know because I was clocking him like that. He would be wearing a new sweatsuit every time. He held his money in a gold money clip. He would take the money clip, with the money neatly stacked, out of his sweatpants pocket. He'd take off his pants, stripping down to the basketball shorts he had on underneath. His powerful legs were as cut as his upper body. For this I gave him mad respect. I can't tell you how many guys I've seen with strong upper bodies and legs like a chicken. He would put that money clip on the inside of his basketball shorts and play ball. My eyes would move in and out of his structure. I couldn't wait to put my lips against his skin and maybe even suck his collarbone or something. To make the package complete, Midnight's kicks were always new and clean. Now Midnight never paid me no mind. I wasn't worried about it though, cause one thing I learned from my mother is a bad bitch gets what she wants if she works her shit right. Pops also taught me something useful about patience. He said sometimes a victory is sweeter when it takes a long time to carry out the plan, and you catch the person completely off guard. What I was up against was the fact that Midnight worked for my pops. So, even if he had ever considered me, he probably ruled me out. He was 5 years older than me. So, he might have also considered me jailbait. The worst thing about it was that I couldn't tell either way. You know how they say a person's face is a dead giveaway? Well, Midnight was the opposite. His face seemed serious all the time. His reactions just didn't show up. Even when he plays ball, he didn't talk trash like the other niggas. He didn't even react when they tried to mess with him. He just seemed focused on the basket, made his moves, scored his jumpers, and didn't even smile when he won. At first, to get his attention I did the regular things. Like rocking my skirts extra mini, shortening my already short shorts, sporting halter tops and cute little metallic bras. As I got sexier, he went from looking at me almost never to never looking at me at all. While in his presence, or at least when I was in the same park he was in watching him play ball, I would try to get his attention by acting mad. I'd suck my teeth, roll my eyes at him, still nothing. So I decided to make him a long shot project. Meanwhile I had my own fun stuff going on. I would let niggas take me to the movies, or should I say I went to the movies with my girlfriends and met niggas there, not wanting to ruffle Santiago's feathers by bringing a worthless nigga home. Sometimes we would just chill at my girl Natalie's apartment. Her mom's was never home, so we had free run of the place. Getting my first sugar daddy was no problem. His name was Sterling. I met him in Lower Manhattan at a grocery market when I ran in to get some chapstick on a fickle autumn morning. I guess my style just overwhelmed him, cause instead of reaching into the cash register and giving me my damn change, his eyes were sliding in between my breasts like he wished he could be one of my gold chains. I recognized him immediately as a sucker, somebody I could take for all he had. All his thoughts showed on his face. It was clear that I had his full attention as I gave him a blast of ghetto attitude. I put my hands on my hips, saying, "My money or your life." He looked startled, stopped staring, and counted out my change. I laughed. "Do you need your receipt?" he asked with his enthusiastic corny ass trying to prolong the conversation. "If that's all you have to offer," I said with a serious look sprinkled with sexiness. He gave me my money, and cleared his throat, turned from the register with his cheap white dress shirt and $2 tie, and followed me as I walked toward the door. I guess he had it like that. He could walk away from the register because he was the store manager. "So what's your name?" he asked, looking like he thought he could actually make some progress with me. "Winter," I said, rolling my eyes with disinterest. "You live around here?" "Brooklyn, baby." "No doubt. The rest is history." He got paid every 2 weeks and so did I. He worked at the store and I worked on him. I had him buying me shit he couldn't afford. We ate at places he never knew existed. Whatever little money he took home in pay, I took my 25% like I was his freaking agent or something. It worked out smooth, him living in Manhattan out of Santiago's eyesight. Besides, the little piece of cash he provided meant a new outfit, an extra gold bangle to my collection, whatever. Like mom says, you can never have too much. Santiago shook up what was supposed to be my sweet 16th with shocking news. We were all around the table. My chocolate baskin, Robin's ice cream cake was bombarded with small nuts and 16 carefully placed maraschino cherries. Daddy handed me a long slim box, the kind I like because it almost always means jewelry. I tore off the gold wrapping paper and smiled wildly as I lifted my new diamond tennis bracelet off of the clean white cotton. My mother's mouth hung open as she inspected my diamonds from across the table. Even though she knew better, she was confirming that they were white, clear, and sparkled like diamonds, not cubic zirconias. As I put the bracelet on, Santiago handed me a birthday card. This was unusual because we weren't big on cards and poetry and shit like that in my family. As I fumbled with the catch on my bracelet, my mom opened the card, suspecting I guess that there must be some birthday money in it or something. She probably figured that if I got cash in addition to this bracelet, Santiago had gone overboard again, and would need a talking to later on. As she opened the card, 2 Polaroid snapshots fell out and onto the table. She picked it up, twisted up her face with curiosity and said, "Baby, what is this?" "It's our new house in Long Island," Daddy said coolly with pride and confidence. I wanted to surprise everybody and I figured today was as good as any day. We're moving. First class baby. Only the best, top shelf for the ladies in my life. I was feeling crazy. The gold candles on my cake melted away and so did my dreams under the pressure of the flickering fire. All I knew was the projects. It was where my friends, family, and all my great adventures were. I knew these streets like I knew the curves of my own body. I was like the princess of these alleyways, back staircases, and whatnot. What was the point of moving? Santiago always said you gotta live where business is to avoid a hostile takeover. He said that a man gotta carry a powerful presence in his neighborhood so the small timers didn't start itching with takeover fever. Now it was like we was cutting out. So I did something that I normally would not do. I questioned Santiago. Why? What's the point? Why are we about to do something that you said we would never do? Santiago simply said, baby girl, things is on a new level. It was cool to rest my head here in the past. But my business is bigger and better than ever. I can't let them get too familiar with the routine. I gotta switch up, keep 'em guessing. Me, Mama, and Porsche were all seated stiff and silent. The babies didn't know what the fuck was going on. Surprise swirled around, strangling us. He continued, everyone can't handle my success. Eventually some fool will snap out of order and try to bring it to me by hurting one of my girls. His long finger pointed at us. His eyes locked into each of our eyes individually. He was making good sense but I was still vexed. I figured, yes, sounds good and all, but I'm not down with the idea of running from a fight. It's just straight up not Santiago style. Santiago picked up on my expression quickly and said, now you know I don't run from no war. I'll take on anybody who wants to bring it to me. But what I'm not having is nobody fucking with my ladies. If they want war, let it be man to man, and only the men. It seemed like Santiago knew something he wasn't telling us. He was dead serious and I knew that his statements were coming from somewhere. This place, he added, holding up the picture, his finger pointing out the mansion, this is a safe place. Man, wait till you see it. Shit, is laid out so nice it's like heaven. The rules for our move out of Brooklyn were clear and non-negotiable. Don't talk about it. We knew no matter how silent we were, there would still be chatter. My mother's brothers and sisters, and their husbands and boyfriends, who all worked for Papa, would definitely have something to say. That didn't matter, Santiago said, I'll take care of everything. Just don't add to it. In my last few days everything was moving like in a slow motion film. Shit that stank more. Anything sweet seemed even sweeter. I spent all my extra time with my girls. We were mad tight, many of us born and raised in the same spot. Take me and Natalie for instance, we did everything together. We even got our cherries busted together and lied to each other about how good the first time felt, when the truth was those big dicks ripped our tight little 12-year-old tunnels apart. We fought over whose date was finer, even though Jamal and Jacob were twins. But I knew Jamal was cuter cause he had a fine black mole on his right cheek and that shit was sexy. Natalie said Jamal was the one who made my titties grow, cause after me and him started getting down I went from flat-chested to all eyes on me. When my girl Toshi had beef with these chicks from around the corner, me, Nat, Zakia, Simone, Monique, Reese, all of us took off our jewels, greased up our faces, braided down our hair, and had our razors under our tongues ready to go to war. Before blows could be thrown or razors spitted out, the big doofy girl from the other crew, who was supposed to scare us, shouted out, "Yo, that's Santiago's daughter. You crazy, I ain't fucking with her." Then the chicks we was supposed to be fighting started fighting each other cause some of them wanted to fight and some of them didn't. So we started running toward them. We charged those bitches and they flew. We ran till we got tired and cracked up laughing at how stupid they were. I know one thing, they never fucked with Toshi again. We blew trees together, then got so hungry we ate 4 family-size bags of nacho cheese Doritos and watched our girl Asia, the only chubby one in our crew, throw up from the bellyache. Hell, we went from patent leather shoes at 5-year-old birthday parties, to matching tomboy outfits and brawls, to fighting over whose titties were bigger. Shantae, who was older than us, taught us all the sexual positions. She let us watch while she got down with boys when her mother was at work. She liked the idea of being our teacher. She even taught us how to suck a dick. We had our first beef patties and cocoa bread, bun and cheese, and ginger beer together cause our girl Carmen was from Jamaica and used to take us to the spot where the dreads chilled out. She taught us how to dance like the Jamaican winders by moving our bodies slow and sexy like caterpillars. But none of us took fashion tips from her cause her gear was out of this world. There wasn't nothing that we hadn't been through, including going to the funeral for Nick, whose mother pushed her off the roof after she found out her man had been fucking her daughter. I was gonna miss BK, the music, the vibe, the hot dogs, and mostly the streets. It didn't matter what no one said, Brooklyn is the shit, #1 in my heart. No one was supposed to know we were leaving. But on our last day there, Natalie, who had a way of finding out all and any dirt on anybody, said to me out of the blue, "I'm trying to get my mother to get our long distance turned back on so I can make long distance calls." When we parted, she said, "Stay real, don't switch up on us, bitch." We left in the evening. The whole thing was casual, like we were going out to dinner or some shit like that. We didn't take nothing with us cause Santiago said we didn't need it. 2 oohs and ahs were the only sounds anybody could hear as my 3 little sisters were completely won over by the drive through the fancy big, money Long Island neighborhoods. As my dad's Lexus zoomed up the winding tree-lined driveway, the clean snow dropped onto the car windows, adding to their amazement. The way I figured it, they were young so they were quick to betray Brooklyn. The huge doors to our new home looked more expensive than our entire old apartment. The warmth in the house invited us in, yet and still Santiago lit the fireplace. More like a museum, there was enough space in this joint to fit 7 or so families. It was so wide we could even park our cars indoors if we wanted. The floors were made of white marble, huge 3-foot by 3-foot squares, to hell with tiles and linoleum. Mama sprawled out on top of the white mink rug that Papa had laid out in front of the fireplace. The way she sunk into that fur and the way her eyes were twice their normal size made me know we were here to stay. The icing for Mama was when Santiago said, "It's all for you to decorate any way that you like." For an entire month we went through catalogs and magazines, mail, ordered shit, and received deliveries that Santiago arranged. Santiago was so live that he had a guy who could make whatever he wanted to happen. Designers, carpenters, locksmiths, tailors, you name it, they came when he called. They gave him respect, tried to keep their eyes from roaming around Santiago's home. You could see them shaken by Papa's power. Although I wanted to be in Brooklyn, I could see that this is the way a man like Santiago is supposed to live. What we considered to be high quality before wasn't nothing compared to now. But those slim corridors in the Brooklyn projects where the smell of fried chicken collided with the smell of codfish and ackee, then got drowned out by the smell of liquor still had my name on it. The silence in the Long Island mansion was killing me. You couldn't just open the window, yell downstairs, and find out what's jumping off later that night. The reality was that for the most part, in this area where we lived, nothing jumped off, period. The whole idea of next door neighbors was dead. Forget borrowing a cup of sugar, a few cigarettes, or whatever. You'd have to walk what seemed like a mile just to get to the next house. Even then you wouldn't be trying to borrow shit from them cause, hell, you don't know them from Jack and they don't know you. Your ass is black, they old and white, and the bottom line around these parts is you're just expected to have your own shit and not borrow anything anyway. Now I don't want to lie to you, there were some blacks in the neighborhood, but they asses was so uptight. I figured if I asked them a question they'd want me to pay for the answer. When I registered at the new school I knew that I would be spending even less time there than I had at my other school. There was just nothing live about it. Plus it's bullshit moving anywhere when you're already a teenager. By this time everybody is all paired off, grouped up, friendships cemented. You'll look like an ass trying to link up with somebody's clique when you don't even know nobody in the whole circle. So I decided, why fake it when it's not even worth it? Now every girl needs company. Trying to figure out how to meet a young nigga out here was like a fucking brain teaser. It wasn't like people was walking outside on the streets like in Brooklyn. Here I could put on a Chanel suit, stand on the corner, and meet nothing but the wind and maybe even get a ticket for loitering. I had my driver's license now, but it didn't matter. We had one car, the Lexus, and it was Santiago's. He promised Mom she was next in line to get her car. I was sure that after her car came mine, but who knew how long that was gonna take. Santiago had to hook everything up just right so as not to bring too much attention on himself with too many big purchases. After a while, me and my moms were going stir crazy. But we were the only ones disappointed. My little sister's room was so big it was like a separate apartment. Even the twins were having a ball because they had plenty of space to tear up in. At the rate they were moving, we joked that our part-time housekeeper, a little Spanish woman named Magdalena, would be quitting any minute now. What good is all of this, baby, if I can't show it off? I need my family to share in what you have given us. Mama's words were never ignored by Papa. Once she lured him into the bedroom, she would get what she wanted. Soon Santiago agreed to allow Mommy to throw regular Saturday night parties. Invitations were limited to carefully selected friends and family. Santiago spared them no luxury. They ate like pigs, drank the liquor from our bar, and powdered their noses with the cane available in candy dishes usually reserved for jelly beans. They partied every weekend and stayed at our house so late that some of them were at our breakfast table on Sunday morning. These parties excited my mother and added the necessary spice to our new boring Long Island life. She got to show off her house, furniture, and all that good shit. If certain people were skeptical about giving us props before, they had to now, cause our shit was official. Nobody from our neighborhood could lie and say that they had what we had. From the way their eyes popped open when they first came to the house, we could tell they had never been in nobody's house that compared to ours. These parties did nothing for me though. Point blank, I wasn't invited. Even though I was 16, Santiago couldn't get it through his head that I was growing up. Inside I think he figured if he treated me like a little girl I'd remain one. Somehow he thought he treated me better than any man claiming to love me would. So, that should be enough for me. But it wasn't enough. So I learned to work around Santiago's ways. First I found a bus stop. That may sound simple, but believe me, it took real detective work. It was about 1.5 miles from our house. I took the bus to the mall. That's when I realized where everybody in Long Island is, at the mall. I cased the place just to see what stores they had up there. They passed my quality test. Coach store, yes. Versace, yes, and of course Ralph Lauren, and Joan, and David shoes. My heart rushed as I shopped. I spotted a few cuties, but not exactly my type of men. They had the blank sort of look in their face, not aggressive enough the way I liked them. Trust me, though, they didn't have to look no particular way to eat my pussy, and right about now that's exactly how I wanted to relieve my tension. So I sipped a chocolate malt, bought myself a designer t-shirt, hooked it up the way I wanted it, and smiled quietly to myself. Saturday morning I prepared to fulfill my baby-sitting obligations. I dressed the twins in their matching Hilfiger jumpers and crisp new kicks. I did their hair up nice in some grown-up styles. I had on my tight brown suede pants, my brown suede jacket, brown leather shoes, and my Versace sunglasses. I put on my new custom-made designer t-shirt. I snatched up their little hands and headed to the mall, where I was sure there would be something exciting for each of us to get into. By the end of the day, the twins had managed to rearrange their hairdos and decorate their jumpers with spilled hot cocoa. I could not believe that I didn't meet the man I pictured so carefully in my mind, my tension reliever. Instead, I was approached by one guy who walked up to me with his toothy ass asking me about my t-shirt. I rolled my eyes and made a face at him like he smelled like shit or something. He got the point and strolled away. Later on, going home on the bus, I thought maybe the guys around here are not used to bold women like me. Maybe they were into manners, prissy bitches, and shit like that. Maybe my t-shirt, which read "These are not my fucking kids," was too spicy for their precious eyes and ears. There was no doubt in my mind that I would have to find my way back to Brooklyn on a regular basis to keep my sanity. Daddy, I said softly, trying to lean on my innocent baby doll look. I want to get my hair done at Erline's next Friday. Sensing some type of plot, Santiago asked, "Why would you go all the way to Brooklyn to get your hair done? Can't you go somewhere around here?" "Come on, Daddy," I pleaded. "They don't know how to hook my do-up out here. Erline be having my shit, excuse me, my hair looking correct. There's plenty of black hairdressers out here. Go to Wyandanch. That's a 45-minute ride. It just doesn't make sense for my baby to be riding a bunch of trains and buses just to get to Brooklyn. Bus. Train. Trust me, Daddy, I wasn't talking about riding either. I'm straight up hitting on you for a ride when you drive in on Friday," I said, laughing and begging at the same time. "Winter, you know I don't mix business and pleasure. I do my run solo. I don't want you to deal with that or knowing more than what you need to know. It's not smart. And I never been a stupid man. Just lay low for a while. Your mother will have her car in a couple of weeks. Then you and her can go ripping around to take care of all that girlish shit. Anyway," he said, with his cool face and half a smile, "there ain't a female in the state who looks better than Winter even without Erline's help." Even in my disappointed moment, a compliment felt good, and worked, as it did every time. I accepted Santiago's rationale and went back to my room to reshuffle my deck and think of another angle to get me into Brooklyn. Days later I called Sterling, my old sugar daddy, out of the blue. After racking my brain for a plan to get into Brooklyn, I realized he was the only sucker I knew who would get such a kick out of seeing me that he would drive all the way out here to get me. The price of the whole arrangement was that I'd have to tolerate him, act like I gave a damn about him when I didn't. I'd have to think of quick answers to all his wimpy bitching questions about where I had been, why I cut out on him like I did, why I never called, and blah, 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 blah. Then I'd have to find a clever way to ditch him, cause I definitely wasn't spending my Friday night with him. I'd have to be firm so he wouldn't start that damn whining. I'd also have to be sweet so if I had to use him again as my taxi driver from time to time, he would cooperate. The worst thing that might happen is I might have to end up giving him some pussy just to keep him in line, or a quick blowjob while he was driving. I wasn't sweating it, though. I had done it with him before and I could easily do it again, especially to get the hell out of Long Island. Soon as Santiago's Lex ripped out of the driveway Friday afternoon, I saw Sterling pull up in his little LE car with the broken fender. I swallowed hard and got ready to pretend it was a limo. When I told my moms I was going to Erline's, she wanted to come, too. I explained that she should not come because I was spending the night at Aunt Laurie's and would not be able to get her a ride back after she finished at Erline's. She screwed up her face as though she had a problem with me spending the night at her own sister's house. I quickly added that I would be back first thing Saturday morning to watch the kids. She let go of her anger and I jetted. Adrenaline was pumping inside Erline's. I was like a junkie getting a fix as I got filled in on the what haps around the way. The girls dropped the regular shit on me like who bumpin' who's pregnant, who's paid, who's not and why. Who's locked down, how long, and who's due to come home. Now Natalie was giving me the elbow, her discreet way of telling me to look toward the door without looking like I was looking toward the door. "There go Tasha," she said out of the corner of her mouth. "Yeah. And?" I asked, waiting for the 411 on her. "She's fucking with your man, Midnight." The information hit me right in my chest. She was talking about my future husband. She's big on him, too. Especially since he got that new Acura with the rims. My heart dropped for 3 full seconds. It took 1 second for me to check Tasha out. My eyes zoomed in on her ears, hump cheap 10-carat gold earrings. Then her clothes. She was chillin' a little bit, strictly hip hop style. She had big taste, me titties, a small flat belly, and a round ass. She was brown skin with chinky eyes. Regular bitch. I thought to myself. The rack that she pulled those clothes off of had 1,000 pairs of the same shit, which means at any party 4 or 5 girls would have it on. There was nothing unique about her or even the way she hooked up her gear. It wouldn't be hard for me to move her right on out. But damn, it was the Long Island distance that was killing me. A second later my mind focused on what I really wanted to hear. Midnight had a new Acura. The one I would be riding in, the one he needed to have to sport a bitch like me. After my hair was butter, I left with Natalie to go check my Aunt Laurie. I needed to at least show my face in her apartment and hang out for an hour or so. I knew my moms would call to check on me. I'd be out partying, but at least Aunt Laurie would be able to verify that she had seen me and that I would be back there to spend the night like I told my mother I would. We had plans to go to Big Mo's, the local bar and dance set that be banging on Friday nights for the young crowd. There was never no problem about Big Mo or his bouncers getting in your business and checking IDs and shit like that. I can't begin to tell you how my heart was racing just from being in the Brooklyn air again. Cars were positioned bumper to bumper for all 3 blocks surrounding Mo's club. Car and Jeep speakers were up, each one playing their own jam. Sound systems were fighting to outblast each other. A little bit of hip hop collided with a little bit of reggae, rockers, and even slow jams. I was on foot, rolling 15 deep straight Brooklyn style with 15 razor-ready girls who all had each other's back. When we got in the club I put my plan into action. I didn't have long to work because Long Island was looming in the back of my mind like a threat. Midnight was standing on the right side of the club where the lights were low. He was kicking it with about 5 other niggas. I caught the side of his serious face, his muscular jaw working. I laughed to myself thinking, only this nigga would conduct business in a place where everybody else is trying to get their groove on. I gave my girl Natalie the pinch and our whole crew started walking toward Midnight and his boys. We rushed his crew, bumping into all of them. Rubbing our titties against them, using the excuse that the club was crowded. Of course it only took a second before my girls had his boys distracted. I stepped up, licking my lips real slowly, and said rough and sexy, like, "What's up Midnight, haven't seen you in a while." I said this line with sensual power. I said it like he and I had been intimate in the past and I missed him and needed to get back with him as soon as possible. I was standing so close to him that 1 more inch and I could have slid my tongue down his throat. He looked at me unaffected, completely unmoved, and non-emotional. My emotions were wilding. My nipples were up and the muscles in my pussy were beating like a heart. "What do you want?" he finally said. Now I was pissed. I knew my perfume had to be working. I dabbed it on extra so when I got up close my scent would suck him in. Hell, I had on 18-carat gold earrings and 1-carat diamond studs, much more than that $2, 10-carat hoe I heard he had been kicking it with had. I didn't want to go off. The bottom line was I wanted him, so I'd have to play it cool, make sure I pull him in just right. I said sweetly, "What do I want?" I touched his hand with mine, looked him dead in the eye. "Oh, I want it all." He pulled his hand back like I had a disease and slowly and coldly spit back at me. "Well, that makes you like all these bitches in here, now, doesn't it?" Rage ripped through my chest as it became clear that I wasn't even a consideration of his. Hell, he acted like I wasn't even a woman. My mind automatically flipped to Santiago, who I know would have ripped out Midnight's tongue for even talking to me like that. Then, like a gypsy, Midnight, reading my thoughts, said, "What, gonna tell daddy? I'm my own man." He turned and walked away. I felt so played I didn't even want to turn around toward my girls. I'd have to tell my whole crew that I got dissed like I was a piece of shit. I just tightened up, put on my Brooklyn tude, grabbed the next nigga standing close to me, and started to dance. I was gonna move with fury, let Midnight know what he was missing. I handed my Coach bag to my girl and started shaking my ass all the way to Alabama, using this dumb fuck dancing in front of me like a prop as I tried to catch Midnight's attention again. My body was shaking and sweating as anger and desire fought it out. Yes, desire, cause I was definitely turned on. The lighting situation made it hard for me to catch Midnight's eyes. At the point that my body wanted to collapse from exhaustion, I saw Midnight looking in my direction and heading my way. Smiling to myself, I thought, I know I'm a bad bitch. I knew he would come back. As he got closer, I realized he was signaling to his man who was standing behind me. He snatched him up and they left the club. Later that night our crew was walking back to the PJS. I was feeling down but looking unaffected. We were joking, bugging, talking about people, when a spanking new, jet black, gleaming Acura with rims pulled up alongside us. We all stopped to look at what I calculated was a $50,000 car with $4,500 in rims. The automatic window on the passenger side dropped down. Midnight was behind the wheel doing what he does best, looking good. I wasn't gonna play the sucker role and assume he stopped for me. I had done that already tonight. So I stood in the pack with my girls. He must have known he could have called any one of us over to him and not one of us would have stopped to consider the others. All of us were probably doing the same thing, imagining ourselves in the passenger seat of that car, which just increased in value as I checked the soft white leather interior and wood paneling. "Winter," he called my name with a roughness that made me want to just hop on his dick and go buck. "Get in." I don't remember walking to the car or nothing. I felt like I was just transformed or teleported right into the seat like I was on Star Trek or something. I turned to the side. The automatic window was up. Midnight was pulling his finger off the control button. I saw 28 eyeballs glued to the side of my window, staring in my face. They was my girls but they were jealous. All I could think was, yeah, that's right. What did you expect? Or have you forgotten? I'm the queen of this ghetto. As the window closed I could hear Natalie's voice saying, "Are you staying at my house or Aunt Laurie's?" I didn't respond, just thought to myself, hopefully neither. As we rode my confidence grew slowly. I decided he was just trying to flip the script on me, play hard to get. It didn't matter though, he came back for me. I had made an impression on him. I had sweated him and now he was sweating me. The air in the car was crisp and clean, smelling. The stereo was so fly it sounded like the band was playing the music live in the back seat. He wasn't saying nothing, but that was all right. I was used to his strange silence. It didn't make me mad. It made me want him more. I knew our lovemaking would be good just based on his mysteriousness. I opened my coach bag and pulled out my little mirror. He wasn't paying me no mind. I tilted the mirror to the side angle so I could look at his face without him realizing that I was looking. He was black, all right, beautiful. His long thin nose and big thick lips mounted his white teeth, white like those T-shirts he wore in the summertime. Suddenly, it seemed, the music was abruptly interrupted by the loud and aggravating voice of Sister Solja on the radio. I leaned up and reached for the button to change the station, when Midnight intercepted my hand, saying, "Don't touch my shit." I sucked my teeth, rolled my eyes, and sat stiff while Solja went on to talk about some black struggle. Humph, I thought, if there is some kind of struggle going on, she must be the only one in it. Everybody I know is chilling, just trying to enjoy life. She, on the other hand, with these Friday and Saturday night comments, busting up the radio hip-hop flavor mix, is the only one who is always uptight. I had every reason to take it personal. She started talking about how young black drug dealers are the strong black men in the community, but need to change their line of business because it's destroying the community. As far as I am concerned, Solja is just somebody who likes to hear herself talk. She obviously didn't know the time because the drug dealers don't destroy nothing. If there weren't people online to buy the product, then there would be no business. No drug dealer I know ever forced anybody, not one person, to take drugs. People do it voluntarily. They do it by choice. The niggas I know who sell drugs be trying to help the stupid crackheads. They be telling them to slow down and asking them are they sure they want to sell their last whatever just to get that hit. I even know a dealer who told this pregnant girl he wouldn't sell her no more crack until after she had the baby. She just took her dumb ass to somebody else and got the crack anyway. Then, when she had the baby boy, she tried to sell him, too. Now whose fault is that? People do what they want to. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Solja just wants people to do what she wants them to do. Why you even listening to this bullshit? I asked Midnight. What the hell do you know? He snapped back in his low and cool voice. This is when I noticed we were on the Long Island Expressway. Where are you taking me? Home, little girl, he responded. Your father paged me and asked me to bring you home. I thought you was your own man. For $150, I'll run an errand. It's business. I pick you up, drop you off, collect my dough, and I'm out. The $150 transaction was as smooth and non-incidental as a messenger service dropping off a package. After handing Midnight the money and closing the door, my father walked silently through the living room and into his den. The room was dark. He sat down, leaned back in his chair. The moonlight through the blinds lit up half of his serious face. Winter, he said softly. Yes, Daddy. I said. What made you think you could spend the night in Brooklyn? I asked Mommy. I wanted to see my friends. Natalie and me were supposed to. I guess you're not understanding. Not understanding what? I asked, checking my tone to ensure that I was not sounding disrespectful, something Santiago doesn't tolerate. Who you are. Who I am. Who we are. He said each word with precision. He was starting to sound like some type of philosopher or something to me. This whole thing wasn't making any type of sense. You're my daughter. You just can't wander off and go anywhere, unprotected. Anywhere. I said, upset. I went home. I went to Brooklyn. I went to the only place I know. Where my peoples is at. Where everybody knows me. Those are my streets, Daddy. Do you think those streets love you? Those streets don't love you. They don't even know you. You could walk those streets 1,000 nights and 1,000 days and they wouldn't even know your name. The street don't love nobody. It was crazy. His words were making me feel uneasy. And I couldn't connect. I didn't like the feeling. I was used to feeling relaxed and in control. So what are you saying, Daddy? Are you saying that I can't go home anymore? No, he said quickly. I'm not saying that. 'Cause Daddy, I'm not hiding from anybody or scared of anything. You taught me that. It's not about hiding. It's about being smart. I taught you that too. What makes you special, Winter? He asked like it was the $50,000 Jeopardy question or some shit like that. I ran the question through my head and drew a blank. What makes you special is me. Santiago. Your father. Your protection. You had full run of our projects when I lived there 'cause I was holding things down, making everything alright. My eyes saw everything. So everything was cool. Now this is home. This is where I rest my head. If I'm here and you are over there, I can't see you. If I can't see you, I can't protect you. When you're unprotected, you're wide open. Anything could happen. But Aunt Lori saw me. She knew I was there. Uncle Stevie was there just like usual. Look at my face, Winter, and never forget what I tell you. Santiago loves you. Your mother loves you. Don't confuse it. That's all you can depend on. Yes, Daddy, I responded softly and turned to go to my room. There was no doubt in my mind that it was time to spark an L. Luckily I had copped a nickel bag earlier in Brooklyn. I went to the linen closet and grabbed a couple of towels. I closed my door, pulled out my pack of incense. My mind shouted, hell no, the incense is a dead giveaway. I went to my bedroom window, opened it, and decided I'd let the breeze in to whisk the smoke out. Sitting down on the bed, I pulled off my shoes. I opened my shirt, unsnapped my bra to let my titties breathe. I slipped on my slippers, walked to my dresser drawer, stuck my hand underneath my folded blouses, and pulled out my Philly blunt. I cracked it open, took the tobacco out, flushed it down the toilet. I put the weed in, wrapped it, licked it, and stuck it under my nose as a teaser to my appetite. Yes, I needed to relieve my tension. I'm backed up sexually, stuck in the suburbs, and my dream lover is a mummy. Just as I went to position the towel to jam up the space in the door, my mom's knocked and without hesitation pushed open the door gently. I got up, threw the towel on the bed to cover up the blunt I had laying there. Hey mommy, I said, trying to act casual. I checked her face. You could always tell when Santiago was upset because it showed on my mother's face. Your father really went off when I told him you were spending the night in Brooklyn. Yeah, we talked, I said, hoping to avoid two speeches in one night. I tried to get him to loosen up, but you know how that goes, she admitted. Oh, that's a fly design you got, I said, checking her freshly sculpted, painted, and immaculate nails. Where did you get that done? A little shop about 15 minutes away. Santiago took me. What else did you get? Don't be holding out on me. I know you got something else. Ah, just a little dress for me to rock tonight at my party, she said. Yeah, I replied disinterested. I know, that's how I'm starting to feel about the parties, too. I just need to get my whip so I can get in, out, and around. When do you think you'll get it? If I have it my way, and I always do, I'll get it next weekend. She smiled confidently. Yeah, but the way Santiago was talking, even after you get it, we ain't allowed in Brooklyn. Now you know that's crazy. He's just protective and sometimes he overdoes it. But, girl, we can sneak, she said, smiling. Her mahogany skin was glowing in my dimmed light. Mommy was pretty alright. A definite advantage to having babies at a young age. You get to chill with your moms like she's your sister or something. Fuck all those old stiff bastards complaining about teenage pregnancy, this and that. Me and my moms could party together. Nobody would ever know that she was my mom's. I got some shit in my closet that looks better on her than it does on me. I know some niggas from around my way in Brooklyn who'd rather fuck her than me. Now they'd never admit it. It would be suicidal. Santiago would. Oh yeah. Just the thought of daddy snapped me back into reality. Sneak to Brooklyn, I laughed. Santiago runs Brooklyn. There's no sneaking in and out of his territory. Hell, he beeped midnight at a club and had him bring me home, embarrassed the shit out of me. How did he know I was there? Well, you know Big Mo got to answer to Santiago, Mom said, being vague. Speaking of midnight, I'll bet you liked riding in his car, she smiled knowingly. What? I played it off. She laid back on my bed, rolled over, and started tickling me like I was a little girl or something. Hitting all of my secret spots, I cracked up with laughter. Midnight school, I said matter-of-factly. Don't front on me, little hooker, she said, like she was really one of my girlfriends. I see the way you look at him. When? I asked. When? Okay, when you were 13, when you were 14, when you were 15, when you were 16, she laughed. He's a good catch, though. A good man, loyal, paid, strong. He don't like me, though, I said, admitting something I would never tell one of my girlfriends. It's not that, she said. Midnight just likes life. Santiago would squeeze the life out of him. I wish that were the truth. No, I'm saying I wish it was that he was just scared of Santiago. I'm saying that he straight up don't like me at all, period, as a woman. He talks cold, says very little. He didn't even try to be nice to me on the way home. Trust me, there is no way he don't like my baby. You're young, fine. You got everything a girl could want, pretty hair, beautiful eyes, clothing, jewels. It's got to be Santiago standing in the way. So when do you think Santiago will stop standing in my way? Who knows, she said, exasperated. My mother got up and headed toward the door. As she stepped out of my room, she leaned her head back in and smiled, and don't light that joint in the house. That will really make Santiago snap. Damn, I thought to myself. It seems like the both of them know everything. But nobody was gonna stop me from getting my buzz on. I crawled outside of my window, sat on my little slanted side of the roof and puffed my law in the spring breeze and moonlight. After the feeling of no worries came over me, I leaned back, closed my eyes, and drifted into the night. We were all seated in the family room. Santiago was playing chess against himself. My mother was flipping through her hundreds of album covers, her collection. My sisters were all glued to the television watching the Cartoon Network. I was reclining in a chair, redoing one of my fingernails, when the doorbell rang. Santiago answered. When the door opened, he stood face to face with Midnight. Midnight looked Santiago dead in the eye and said, "We need to talk." Santiago led him into the den. I jumped off the reclining chair and tiptoed to the den door, plastering my ear against the side of the wall. Midnight told Santiago slowly and respectfully, "I know you love your daughter, and so do I." Santiago's face first held a look of surprise, then grew vexed. He remained cool. As he leaned forward about to speak, Midnight quickly went on. I know what I need to do as a man. I've been working on it for a long time and now I'm ready. I wanted you to be sure that I'm for real, that my love for your daughter is for real. Midnight reached into his inside pocket and pulled out an elegant black velvet ring box. He cracked it open and the 2-carat diamonds sparkled. My nosy eyes beamed in. On the stone. I want to marry Winter, Midnight said firmly. I'll surround her with the finest things in life, like she deserves, like you always have. My finances are solid, stashed away, ready. Maybe we'll buy a house up here. Live next door to you. Santiago smiled at the idea of keeping me within arm's reach. My insides screamed. Hell no. Not here. My heart interrupted and said okay, anywhere, you fine ass, paid motherfucker. Santiago said, Winter is young. Yes, Midnight said sternly. Young and beautiful. Like your wife was when you two married. Santiago checked Midnight's face to make sure that Midnight meant no ill by his comment. Then Midnight took control. I respect you as a man, Santiago. I always have. I value your business and have served you well. But I'm my own man and this is what I want. So what do you say, what's up? Santiago embraced Midnight. As Midnight's face pressed against Santiago's shoulder he looked at me and said with that masculine authority that made me hot, pack your stuff, shorty. It's me and you from here on out. Excited, but not wanting to appear desperate, I threw my hand on my hip and said, let's see what you have there. Midnight opened the box and took out the ring. As he placed it on my finger, the phone rang, jerking me out of my sleep, ruining my dream. If only it could have rung after the love scene. I snatched the telephone as my sleepy eyes checked the digital on my dresser. 6 o'clock in the fucking morning. What do you want? It was Natalie. She laughed, my long distance is working. Hey, EY wake up, hooker. So what happened? Where did you go? Did you get it? How was it? Was it small? Was it big? She fired questions like bullets. My mind was still sleepy. I needed enough energy to get my lies straight cause I was definitely about to tell some lies. We went out for a late night / early morning breakfast. Where? She demanded. He took me to one of those big fancy diners out in Queens. He had steak and eggs with potatoes. I had the shrimp and fries. Shrimp and fries. That's not breakfast food. Girl, you know I don't eat breakfast. Anyway, Natalie screamed. Get to the good part. Before I could even start talking, she was filling in the blanks for herself. Oh, my God. Wait until Tasha finds out about this. It's on now. Now Natalie bringing that hoe Tasha's name up only gave me fuel. After breakfast me and Midnight got back in the car. He took me to one of those lookout spots by the river. He started kissing me. Girl, his lips were so big and warm. He started rubbing my titties with those big, ass strong hands. Girl, I thought I was gonna explode. He started taking off my shirt and that's when I went Brooklyn on his ass. What? She screamed. What happened? I told the nigga, look, don't try to play me out. If I'ma take off my clothes, you gonna take off yours, too. You want to see my body? Oh well, it's all here. But, I want to see your body, too. No you didn't. Yes. I did, I said. So what happened? He took off his shirt and said, now, you take off yours. So I did. He took off his pants and said, now you take off yours. So I did. Oh shit. Natalie was going ballistic. Then what? He took off his drawers and said, "Now take off yours." Did you? I damn sure did. Girl, I looked at his big ass black balls laying against that soft white leather car seat, and that was it. We got busy. Was anybody looking? Hell no. I don't know. We weren't worrying about that. After that wild sex we just chilled butt naked. Him in his seat butt naked. Me in my seat butt naked puffing law. Get out of here. You lying? Natalie screamed. A girl, that's for real. I made sure my sweat sunk into the car leather just to let every other bitch know I was there. The next bitch that gets into that car is gonna smell me all over. We both laughed. For the next weekend came so swiftly. It was 12 noon when I woke up. It was my mother's voice. She was going off about how she was not spending one more day caught up in the house. Where was her fucking car? She wanted to know. Today is the day. Today is the day my fucking Benz is supposed to be parked outside of my bedroom window with a big red ribbon on it. Where is it? She demanded. The tone of my mother's voice was rare. I could hardly say I ever remember it being this rough. All I could think is here go two Concorde jets about to have a head-on collision. My three little sisters came running into my room, stuffing their little bodies under the covers with me. I expected to hear Santiago yell back, but he didn't. Instead, my mother just continued blowing her cool and doing something she told me not to do. She was making it clear who the boss was. A real woman was not supposed to do that. A bad bitch controlled without the man ever knowing that he was being dominated. A bad bitch was so slick that she made him think he was calling the shots while she planted the seeds and was the owner of all his thoughts. Not today. My mom's told Santiago she didn't want to hear no shit. He was going out with her today, her birthday, to buy that car. She was leaving with him, she instructed. After his business was transacted, Santiago was to buy that car she had been holding her breath for. She wasn't interested in no other presents, no matter what they were. Through the walls I could hear the bass in Santiago's voice, but not his exact words. The next loud sound I heard was the door slamming. From the silence, I knew that both of them were gone. As my mother had said last week, she always had her way. Saturday evening the stars fell down, 6 minutes after 6. 6 hours after their argument. I remember it clearly. That was the time the phone rang. Winter, get the kids ready, I'm coming to pick you up. I didn't recognize the slow, steady voice. What? Who is this? This is midnight. Listen, your father asked me to pick all of you up and bring you out here. Oh, you're becoming a regular little taxi driver, huh? This is serious, he said. I'll be there in 2 hours. Click. Damn, should I beep Santiago? This had never happened before. Then I thought to myself, midnight can be trusted. I got the 3 little girls ready and 2 hours later we waited anxiously at the door. My 8-year-old sister wanted to fight me for the front seat of Midnight's Acura. I told her to take her little ass in the back with the twins. I wondered what would make her think she could ride in the front seat with my man. Hell, she probably already had a crush on him. Little girls start getting horny at a younger age every year. Where we going? I asked. My heart was filled with all kinds of feelings. We have to rush. Just get in. I'll tell you when we get there. It's not for little girls to know. Midnight tried to fill up the empty space with the radio. Other than the music, we rode in complete silence while one of my sisters tried to peel the last bits of sticky paper off her now and later candies in the back. Oh God. I thought to myself, I hope she don't suck the candy and leave it stuck to the side of the seat like she normally does. I imagined Midnight pulling over and throwing all of us out on the expressway for messing up his leather interior. I laughed to myself. Just then the aggravating voice of Sister Solja leaped out of the radio and started choking me. The ancient African elders believed that what you sow, you reap. If you do something positive will come back to you. If you consciously do negative things, then negativity will rule your life. I sucked my teeth and thought, why don't that bitch just move to Africa? She's always talking some African mumbo jumbo. Somebody should stick a bone in her nose and a plate in her lip, maybe then she'd feel at home and shut the fuck up. I made myself laugh, thinking, them damn Africans must have been some fucked up niggas. If they believed doing something positive caused positive things to happen, why are their asses all fucked up, bald, headed, naked, starving, stinking, and the whole nine? They must have been doing some foul shit. Hell, that bitch don't know, she just be talking to talk. When we got to downtown Brooklyn, I asked Midnight where he was headed. He was turning right, our old neighborhood was to the left. I said I would tell you, he said. Minutes later Midnight pulled over, put on his emergency blinkers, and asked me to get out. Puzzled, I got out. He came around to my side. He didn't let the girls get out. I said, I know we ain't leaving them in the car. Come here, I got to tell you something. He put his arm around me and looked me dead in the eyes. Your mother is in the hospital. She's been shot. My whole mind went blank. It was like someone took an eraser, the type they clean the blackboard with in school, and just wiped everything out. 1 second later my mouth was screaming. My mind was blank. My body was cold. Midnight's arms were around me, hugging me, embracing me, and trying to hide my face and tears from the girls. They had their faces glued to the window, saying something like, "Oh, Winter's kissing Midnight. We gonna tell mommy." My body was stiff, my mind wouldn't think. I felt out of control. What do I do? What do I do now? Is she okay? Is she gonna? Is she gonna? Midnight held me tighter, firmer, almost as if to demand with his body that I get it together. She was shot in the face. I don't know how she is. Santiago is upstairs with her now. I'll watch your sisters. You go upstairs and check on the situation with her now. Vega will take you up on the elevator, he said, nodding in the direction of one of Daddy's men stationed in the main lobby door of the hospital. You come with me. I begged him. No, this is my position. We don't want the little ones to know nothing yet. Upstairs Santiago looked like a madman. His face was dark with sadness. When he looked at me, I could swear that I saw tears, something I could honestly say I never seen in his eyes before. He hugged me hard, strong, and warm. As he laid his head on top of my head, his voice whispered, "I'm sorry. I fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up." What happened, Daddy? Is she okay? She's going to be all right. They're operating on her now, he said flatly. I should have just gotten her the car, he muttered. I shouldn't have hesitated. What happened? I repeated. I never should have let her ride with me today. I knew better than that. What a stupid mistake. What a stupid fucking mistake. Them motherfuckers is gonna feel it. Violation. He grabbed my face with both hands. They'll take care of your mother, he said, using his eyes to point out his men stationed in the waiting room. You take the children and stay with Midnight. Where are you going, Daddy? Can I see Ma? My words hit his back. He walked out the door. The doctors, nurses, attendants, hell, it took the entire hospital it seemed like to hold me back. I wanted to see my mother. They kept telling me, she's on the operating table. She'll be in intensive care later. Contamination, infection, blah, blah, blah. Pizzazz and Dragaz, two more of Daddy's workers, were standing near the operating room doors. They was tryna look casual, but it's hard for two big black niggas from the streets to look casual in a hospital. It ain't like somebody was gonna mistake them for doctors or nothing. My mind started to clear up as I sat and sat and sat. It dawned on me to call Natalie. If something went down around our way, she would definitely know a little about it. Natalie's voice was apologetic. She said sorry so many times you'd think she pulled the trigger. I didn't have to say nothing. Natalie just rambled on. I know it was them niggas from the C building on the other side. They been tryna blow up around our way for some time now. On the low they been shaking niggas down, looting, and terrorizing everybody. They got their little operation going on, but, damn, to blast Santiago's woman in the face. That's some raw unnecessary shit. The way I figure it, there are enough crackheads around here for everybody to get money. But they'll learn. They young boys anyway. They'll catch it. Santiago will set them straight. It's gonna be a bloodstorm in Brooklyn tonight. She acted excited, like she was watching a heavyweight fight at Madison Square Garden or something. Where you at? Natalie questioned. The hospital, I mumbled back. Where are the kids? With the housekeeper. Nah, they downstairs with Midnight. Midnight? What's he doing there? She intruded, then continued on. Oh, it's like that now, huh? Oh, that's your man now and shit? I hung up. Dragez motioned to me to come toward him. Discreetly he leans toward me, saying, I'm taking you downstairs now. You won't be able to see your mother until tomorrow. Midnight is waiting downstairs in the front. You'll leave with him. What exactly happened? I asked. I got no response. Drop the kids off at Aunt Laurie's house, I told Midnight from the passenger seat. I want to go check on some stuff. He looked at me with complete defiance, told me that he already had the plans from Santiago and I should just sit back and do as I'm told. Just let me make one stop then, I said, figuring I needed to be on my Brooklyn block where the shit was jumping off at. I needed to be with my girls ready to do whatever we had to do. That's the problem with all you women, Midnight said dryly, like he was 40 years old instead of 22. Nobody can tell y'all shit. You never want to listen. Never want to follow instructions. Then when shit goes down, all the fuck you can do is cry. We crossed the state line into New Jersey. Midnight pulled into the Marriott Hotel parking lot. As many times as I had thought about me and Midnight's hot bodies all twisted up on some crisp clean cold new white hotel sheets, I never imagined that we would be here under these circumstances. We're gonna stay here tonight, he said. A big smile spread across my lips. No, this is serious, he spit, as though my delight was somehow illegal. I'll check in for all of us. Most likely nobody will ask, but if they do, we're one family renting a suite, last name Cooper. Cooper, is that your last name? I asked. See, he said. You don't even know my name. Remember that? Humph, I thought to myself, is that supposed to be some kind of fucking answer or something? The suite was immaculate, top of the line. I couldn't have asked for more if I was on a honeymoon. There was one king-sized bed and a living room with a couch with a pull-out bed inside. Each room had its own television. The bathroom was huge marble down and looked brand new. I stepped in there, took a deep breath and figured maybe after the kids went to sleep we could room service some crystal and sip it while we took a bubble bath together in the jacuzzi. I needed something to relieve all my pressure, and why not get with the man I always wanted? You four can take this bed, Midnight said, pointing to the bedroom. I'll sleep in the living room. We'll be here for the next 3 days, so get comfortable, and chill. You three, don't make a mess, he said with a certain joking tenderness that must be reserved only for children. 3 days. I hollered with my hand on my hips. Can I talk to you a minute, please? I pointed toward the living room. He rejected my order, turned the television to the Disney Channel for my sleepy sisters and then came into the living room at his own pace. What is this shit about 3 days? I have one dress with me, the one I'm wearing. The 3 little bears have no clothes and already have spilled shit all over themselves. My mother's in the hospital. I want to see her. I need to know what's going on. I'm not down with this Mission Impossible shit. And, as for that shit you were talking in the car about women crying when shit breaks down, that's bullshit. I'm a fighter. I've held heat before and I know how to use it. I can cut a bitch with my razor so fast and so clean she wouldn't even know what happened until she bled to death. The problem with you, Midnight, is you think you know every goddamn thing. What you're not understanding is that I can help. I can be your right hand man. Just let me know what's up, what's going on. Nothing moved except Midnight's jawbone. Something Mama said was a definite sign of a man's anger. He reached in his back pocket, pulled out a stack of bills. First thing in the morning I'll take you out to get some clothes. Don't worry. I realize you're a high maintenance bitch. Gotta keep you up in the style you're accustomed to. How many fighters do you know find themselves in the middle of the goddamn war and all the fuck they think about is fashion and the clothes on their back? Hell no, you won't ever be my right hand man. I was impressed with the big stack of bills and excited about going shopping. I wondered if this was his money or if Santiago had given it to him and he knew all along that he had orders to take me shopping. Maybe it was a little bit of both. Maybe he was using his own money, but knew Santiago would pay him back. Okay, one last question, I pushed, knowing I was aggravating him yet enjoying the attention. What clothes are we going to wear out to go shopping in the morning when all of our stuff is dirty? Never mind. I know the laundry service. As I pushed 8 to call down to the laundry room, he put his finger on the phone, disconnecting my call. With a muscular hand on my shoulder, he said sarcastically, "Think like you come from the projects. Take your clothes off and wash them in the sink. Hang 'em up by the heater to dry. You know how to wash clothes, don't you? The laundry service is closed now. It's almost midnight." After stripping the 3 bears and tossing their clothes in the sink, I put them under the sheets and blankets. I talked to them about the things we were going to do tomorrow and assured them that everything was okay. They knocked out to sleep one by one like clockwork. I slipped off my dress and stood checking myself out in the bathroom mirror. Thank God I listened to Mama's advice about always have nice clean sexy underwear. If I was a tackhead, I could have got caught out here with some beat up drawers on my ass, with a shit stain and a big old hole in 'em. Just the thought cracked me up. I peeled off my panties, undid my bra, and put them in the sink. I stepped in the shower and let the warm water turn hotter, steaming my whole body from the tension of my crazy day. My mind was downloading slowly. What about Mama? What would her face look like now? Would she have to get plastic surgery? Would her face be temporarily disfigured? What would Santiago think about her face? Of course he would make sure she would get the best medical treatment and everything. How long would she stay in the hospital? Oh, my God. Would I become a professional baby sitter, getting stuck with my little sisters? Santiago would definitely have to hire the housekeeper full-time instead of part-time to help watch the kids. What about Midnight? What was his beef with the world? Or was it that he just liked pissing on my world? For once Mama was wrong. She told me that Midnight wanted me. She told me that only his fear of Santiago stood in the way. But that was not what I saw in his eyes, fear. He never seemed fearful of anything or anyone. He just straight seems disinterested in me. Now he and I were forced together for 3 days, like being stuck on a deserted island. If I was the last woman on earth, would Midnight turn me down? What the hell could he be thinking? Stepping out of the shower, I grabbed 2 towels, wrapped one around my wet hair and the other around my body. I swerved into the living room where Midnight had positioned himself in front of the TV. His dress shirt was open. Underneath he was wearing one of those crisp white undershirts. I could see his gun on his waist, half tucked in his pants. My eyes slid down his legs. I could see another gun he held near his ankle. The blackness, the guns, his muscle structure, that white shirt, those white teeth, and his unfiltered anger was so seductive I had to try again to get with him. "Do you want me to wash your clothes? I'm getting good at it now." "No, that's okay," he said, without even taking so much as a look at me. I stepped over and into the chair opposite him. "I'm tired," I said, stretching my arms slowly above my head. "Go to bed then," he answered cruelly, as if he didn't want to be bothered. I picked up my legs and placed them on the arm of my chair. I was now going to become the freshly showered, hair wrapped, body wrapped, in a towel ivory girl. I started playing games with my legs, repositioning them, opening them slowly, closing them slowly. I was making it possible for him to see the hairs on my pussy, if he only wanted to. When I got excited enough, my juices would start to flow, releasing the scent of a willing pussy, definitely something he wouldn't be able to fight. "Are you a homosexual, Midnight? 'Cause if you are, that's cool. To each his own and all that good shit." He laughed a rare laugh and, without turning around, he said, "Go to bed, little girl." "Little girl? Do these look like little girl titties to you?" I stood up and released the towel, dropping it to the floor. I wanted him to see my 34DS. So he could take back his insult. I wanted him to see my whole body. He stayed stiff like a mummy, unaffected by my nakedness, and I mean I was butt naked, standing in the middle of a hotel suite which was designed for fucking. Midnight leaned up, grabbed the remote, and started surfing channels. "I'll see you in the morning," he said finally, like a father would. I sucked my teeth, picked up my towel, and returned to the bathroom. I washed, rinsed, and twisted the clothes as if they were the source of my anger, laying each piece out to dry separately, some by the heater, some on the shower curtain. I tiptoed into the bedroom, not wanting to wake my sisters. I grabbed one of the pillows from the bed and sat my bare ass in the comfortable chair next to the bedroom window, where I slept.